Reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make this world.
Hello, I'm Carol Court, and welcome to Networking. Each week, we will be meeting with guests from a variety of women's organizations and groups. We hope that the issues that they present will offer some support to other women facing similar situations. Some of the women we will be meeting will be members of groups such as Women in Transition, Women in Construction, and Aging Women. Tonight, the focus will be on motherhood. We have with us two mothers who are facing very difficult and different situations. In just a few minutes, Linda Zach, a member of Mother Talk, will be joining me back in the studio.
Everyone has this image of motherhood being the fulfillment of the American dream. I see it as a daily struggle to balance my needs against those of my children and my husband. I have needs too.
Sometimes I really hate my child. He can be bright, beautiful, and charming. He can also be demanding, insistent, stubborn, and loathsome. And during those times, my fantasies include child abuse.
Having to deal with a babysitter is very painful. All I can see is another woman holding, loving, and caring for my new baby. I'm terrified at the thought of this stranger becoming important to my child.
I'm a teenage mother, and although I adore taking care of my daughter, I watch all my friends going out to discos, and I feel cheated by having to stay home.
What you have seen demonstrates why a support group for women was formed. Tonight, we are happy to meet Linda Zach, who is a mother, a part-time dental hygienist, and a part-time travel agent. Linda, you are a member of Mother Talk. Could you tell us why it was formed and how it was formed?
Well, just for the record, our group has been meeting for about 3.5 years. And originally, the group formed as an offshoot of the Mother's Book. We wanted to get together and put a tip section for other mothers, and we felt as though there was such a terrific chemistry with the group that we'd continue it. And we've been meeting on a monthly basis and discussing various issues of motherhood, parenting, pressures of marriage, and all subjects that have to do with motherhood experiences.
Linda, you are the mother of a handicapped child.
Mm-hmm.
How has Mother Group and Mother Talk helped you in that capacity?
Well, it's been an emotional support for sure. I think that all mothers share very similar emotional kinds of feelings about bringing up their children. For me especially, I was alone, and these were people that I felt very comfortable with. And in many cases, they've been wonderful resource people for me, because there are various women in the group that are professionals, trained therapists, and working in the educational system. So it's been very helpful in both emotional and educational ways.
Linda, do you feel that you brought anything to the group as a mother of a special needs child, being the only one who has a special needs child in the group?
For sure. I think that what I brought to the group was the fact that none of us are immune to this kind of misfortune. I might add that my son is a terrific little boy, but it has in fact brought a very saddened part of life to my husband and I, in that we don't have a sense of control over our child's development that other people do of their normal developing children. And I think that I've given light to the fact that we can't always be in control of situations.
Mother Talk sounds as if it offers support to you both as a mother of a special needs child and just being a mother. Is that so?
Absolutely, because we really talk about subjects that have to do with all mother and child relationships. It isn't just the educational or the actual development of the children, but issues on religion and sexual awareness for our children, and just total growth experience.
Do you become very candid during these discussions, or do you feel that it's more objective?
I was a little bit apprehensive in the beginning to really let my hair down, because I felt very isolated. But as we became more of a sharing group, things started to come much more naturally.
Linda, thank you so much for being with us. We really appreciate your having shared with us how you feel about Mother Talk.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Before we meet our next guest, we will take a break and look at the network calendar for the next month. Welcome back to Networking. Our second guest on this program about motherhood is Diane Jones. Diane is a lesbian mother who teaches and has some interesting things I hope to share with us about being a lesbian and a mother. Could you talk a little bit to that, Diane?
Well, in some ways I feel that the problems I face in the same way that any mother, and in particular any single parent, would face with a child growing up, wondering about what they'll be like in their teenage years, worrying about financial problems and so forth, worrying especially if there's enough time to give her in every day. But in addition to that, as a lesbian mother, I also face additional problems in terms of the kinds of pressures that lesbian mothers face in the everyday real world. It's oftentimes difficult for lesbians in the workforce. Many lesbians can't come out to their employers and so forth, to their business associates. In addition to that, it's often difficult to just share in terms of family relationships as a lesbian mother.
How does your daughter feel about you being a lesbian mother? For example, how did she feel about you talking about this publicly?
Well, my daughter's 8, and she's very supportive. In some ways, she's jealous, but I think she'd be jealous in terms of any relationship that her one and only mother would be involved in. But as far as I can tell, she tends to be very supportive. In fact, before I came here tonight, I asked her if she had any words of encouragement, and she told me that I should tell everyone that what's really important is that people love each other, and that was all that mattered. So I think she's pretty wise in that respect.
That's wonderful that you have a daughter that's so understanding. What about the rest of society, though?
Well, I think it's pretty obvious that the rest of society isn't as supportive, and many people in society worry about the relationship between lesbians and children, or between gay people in general and children. And I think most people, when they think about heterosexual, they identify that with having children and don't realize that there are many gay people who would make excellent parents, just as there are many heterosexuals who aren't particularly good parents. There are lesbians who have lost their children in court custody battles simply because they are lesbians. And I think that's a real problem that we all face.
What about custody issues and you personally?
Well, my daughter's father at this point in time doesn't know about my lifestyle. He's in California right now, and I'm not sure that I'm going to tell him, but if I do, it's going to take a while.
I can imagine. Difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Are there male role models for your daughter in your life?
Well, yeah, I think that it would be a mistake for me to claim that I speak for all lesbians or for all lesbian mothers. I think every situation varies. In terms of my own life, I have male friends, and my daughter spends a good deal of her time around men. I also think there are tremendous numbers of male role models all around society, and I would rather have my daughter have fewer male role models and have them be sensitive and caring men, and have her learn the kinds of values that I would like her to learn.
We spoke to Linda about the Mother Talk support group. Are there similar support groups for lesbian mothers?
Well, at this point in time, there's one support group for lesbian mothers that I do know about, which comes out of the Cambridge Women's Center, and there's a support group for lesbian mothers that meets every week.
Do you feel that you as a woman need support both in terms of just being a mother and just being a lesbian, or are you in a special category with other lesbians who are mothers?
Well, I think we can call lesbian mothers one category, but as I said, every one of us has different needs and comes out of different situations, and I think we all need support from families, from friends, and also from support groups.
Does your daughter at times, do you think, wish that her mother were not a lesbian at this point in her life? Can she really understand what's going on and your needs?
Well, since she's 8, it's hard to know, and all of us, I suppose, wonder what our children will be like 10 or 20 years from now. And we can only hope that the impact we have on them is a positive one. I think, in a sense, being a lesbian mother has helped my daughter to grow in a tremendous numbers of ways. I think she's much more tolerant of people's differences now in a way that's really positive. I think that now she can look at people who are different, who live different lifestyles, who may be from different races or religions, and see that those kinds of differences shouldn't be criticized just because they're different, in the same way that she can see with me that I live a different lifestyle, but I'm still her mother. And so I think for her it's been a very positive learning experience.
It sounds like this is something that has really helped her to grow. And we thank you, Diane, for being with us tonight. I know it's difficult in sharing those kind of intimate feelings about motherhood, but it's greatly appreciated. We will now take a short break, and we'll be back in a few minutes.
Reach out and touch somebody's hand.
Jennifer, have you ever thought about what you're going to be when you grow up?
Yes, maybe policeman, but I couldn't do that.
Of course you could. You can be anything you want to be when you grow up. Think about it. Use your imagination.
Some mommies are ranchers, or poetry makers, or doctors and teachers, or cleaners or bakers. Some mommies drive taxis, or sing on TV. Yeah, mommies can be almost anything they wanna be.
For these booklets and more information about career opportunities for women, write to Women's Bureau, U.S. Department of Labor, JFK Building, Boston, Massachusetts, 02110.
I really can be anything I want when I grow up.
Welcome back to Networking. Thank you for having been with us tonight, and we hope that the issues that were presented by these women will help you to deal with some of your own support problems. Next week, we will be going on location to meet with women in construction and women in transition. We hope you'll be joining us then for Networking.